Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoy the work that I'm producing here on my channel, one of the best things that you can do for me to support the work is to leave a like on the video. And, sharing these messages is what I love to do. And my goal is to spend as much time doing this as I can. So every little bit helps. And I appreciate you guys for playing the YouTube game with me. So going into the Akashic records, I was looking for information to give the collective. I was looking for, what can I bring forward that will make a difference for people and help them understand what's going on here and why they're in the middle of it. So, the prompting was to talk about healing, which it always is, and rightfully so. We're healers waking up, remembering what we're doing in a place that needs a lot of healing. So there was a prompting about talking about healing from the Pleiadian collective. And then the message after that was to talk about a personal experience I had a few days ago. And I'm excited that that was the prompting because, when it happened, it was really profound for me. And, I was thinking about how to work it into a YouTube video. And, it's really interesting when you're having experiences in your life and then you go into a space dimensionally to retrieve information and the discussion is about what your experience was. I think, that is really cool. And I am grateful for the guides and the family who are so dedicated to watching out for us. So as I'm talking about this, you should know that nobody, even the most experienced proficient healers, are going to do this with 100% success all of the time. We are human beings. We are flawed, and it's purposeful that we are like that. But what makes the difference is your ability to overcome the normal human instincts and to counter the energies and the vibration that are feeding into them. So the other day, I saw something that was really, really ugly. And I'm not going to give details about that here. It wasn't something that I wanted to see, but I've learned that I'm crossing paths with things that I would not necessarily seek purposely, so that I can utilize my gifts as a healer to help those individuals who are going through something extreme deal with that. And all of you are doing and can do the same thing. So I was frustrated about what I saw. I went into the, talking to God, talking to the guides negatively. Why is this happening? What's the purpose? Why are we doing here? Why does it have to be like this? All of those things that we occasionally get into. Everybody's going to. So what I did was a little different. I started to pray like I did when I was a little kid. So, I got on my knees, I folded my arms, and I opened a dialogue with the Creator. And I was asking questions. I was asking, why does it have to be like this? Why does that person have to go through such a tragic thing? And, I was confused. I knew what I was to do as a light worker. I knew the procedures to go through to help in the balance and recovery effort for those people, but I wasn't really doing it. Sometimes you see things here that override the training that we've all been, going through the last several decades. So I was praying and, what I was saying is, tell me what to do, show me what to do, what can I do? And I got a very, very clear prompting from the Creator that said to me, let's do it together. And I was flooded with, a wave of understanding that was eluding me to that point. So, I was really sad and frustrated for what I witnessed, but I knew in that moment that I was going to work with the Creator to do what I came here to do, and that is change density. And let me tell you the process that the creator walked me through. You know, like I said, it's something I've talked about before, but I want to reveal for those of you who are new exactly what it is. So, you know, when we see things happening here and we don't understand it and we can't imagine, you know, ourselves going through it, when we're empaths, we tend to simulate as if it is us that is going through the tragic thing. We try to wrap our head around, you know, wow, this really happened to that person. What would it be like if it happened to me? You know, and that's a tough reality and energy to put yourself in. And especially old souls is counterproductive because you are further embedding, if you are allowed to, you're further embedding the negative energies that that person has acquired from whatever they're going through. And I say, if you're allowed to, because I know that you doing this or not doing this can determine your, you know, your third eye opening and opening up to telepathic gifts, opening up to psychic gifts, turning on your clairs and all of that good stuff that we're looking to do. So if you're an old soul who is observing reality and dabbling in the lower frequencies that are created there, basically being in the world and of the world, your guides, your angels are going to block you from opening up your abilities. And like I said before, your abilities can be functioning and you can be energetically making an impact on everything you turn your attention to, but you might not have the awareness of what the potential is of you using that energy. So you can use your energy in a counterproductive way. And one way of doing that, especially if you're an old soul and a healer, is to see someone going through something and then simulating the same kind of energies in your field of experience. So what did the creator do for me in that moment? Took my hand, relieved my burdens, and walked me through the process of helping those who had just gone through this experience by giving them light and energy and resources vibrationally that would not have been available or would have been canceled out if I was to put myself in their shoes and try to understand what they were going through. It's not really for me to understand. Those people have their guides and their angels. Those people have the creator inside of them, just as, you know, just like I do. And, you know, their experience is theirs. And I don't necessarily have to take a piece of the trauma pie and make it my own in order to help that person. So what we want to do is we want to experience the opposite. We want to use our imagination or our energy factory to create frequencies that will help trigger that person into their healed timeline. So what do? I closed my eyes. I started to visualize that person who I'd seen gone through this event as the healed version of themselves, as a version of themselves who had overcome whatever it is that they experienced and even considered themselves to be a better person for having gone through it. That is not something you can really do if you are spinning in circles trying to figure out why. You know, that's personal between that soul having the experience and the creator. What the creator needed me to do in that moment was to follow through with my objective as a light worker and create resources for that person that would counter whatever they're going through. You know, and I see others doing this all of the time in session. But the rule of thumb for old souls, if you've been doing this a year, 10 years, or 30 years, will always be observe, don't absorb, and be in the world, but not of the world. It is counterintuitive to see something going on in the world that doesn't make sense to us and then be okay with it and go through the motions of helping, bringing the light and love and healing energy that you came with in abundance. That's why you're the one doing it. That's what sets you apart from everybody else who is having this experience. The old souls speak the language of energy. The old souls understand universal law and utilize that knowledge not only to better themselves in their own situations, but the situations of everybody who is in need here. We don't have to always have an understanding of why things happen the way they do. We just have to understand that we have light that can help. So when you move into the observe, don't absorb mindset and approach to being an old soul and an empath, you're going to have activations in your system. I know that for a fact. I know that the universe and the creator have spared no expense in getting you into a state where you're healed enough that the darkness is not influencing you back into old patterns. So then you can turn your attention to others, to the field and the collective, to help correct the same kind of patterns. And that takes me to my next area of focus. And many of you know, I am the father of a 2-year-old little boy who is, giving mother and I a run for our money. And a lot of you find yourself in the same situation. And I want to tell you who that little being is running around your home, destroying things. It is a very old soul who has an upgraded suit, whose reality that they experience is going to be very, very different than the one that you and I grew up in. And you should also know that there were old souls who woke up in the 20s, 30s, and 40s who passed away in the 2000s and the 2010s area and then had a quick reincarnation bounce back and are now being parented by old souls who are waking up and healing themselves in the same way. It is your job to eliminate from that being generational traumas that were passed to you. So things that your parents did, things that your grandparents did, things that your siblings did, and maybe you got caught up in it, or maybe you were the target of it. None of that stuff, none of those limiting habits and behaviors that are, rooted in separation are to be passed to our children. And, this is another thing that you're not expected to be perfect at. Every soul that you're dealing with, every child that you have has its own lessons to learn and its own process of getting into a state where they remember who they are and discover the God inside of themselves. So let me tell you why it's important that you don't pass anything on to them. So if you are a parent right now, you're an old soul, you've gone through an extensive process of healing yourself from things that you've experienced in this lifetime and things that you've experienced that are stored karmically in your Akash that are still influencing you. So the goal is for you to heal yourself, to meet a certain healing threshold within yourself, that your benevolence can start to shine through, that your density and your darkness starts to fall away, and the light that you are is the only thing that's left and the only thing that people see. So right now, if you have a child that is, let's say, just as a rough idea, 15 years or younger, and this is not to say that that child is not flawed or going to have his own polarity, because they always will. That's what this experience is, and that's what we came here to experience. You have to keep in mind that you might be dealing with an old soul who is reincarnated after 30, 40, 50, 60 years of doing healing work that you've already done as well. So now they are born in a new energy with a clean slate to work with without having to look behind them. These are the ones who are creating the new earth. These are the ones that are establishing what humanity is going to look like and what we would like to exist in this dimensional space with us. So right now, if you are an adult listening to this, and I know that you are a healer who has climbed every mountain in existence to heal themselves so that they could then turn their attention to healing the collective by showing them how they did it, using themselves as an example. If everything goes according to plan, we are creating a new generation that is already healed and is going to hit the ground running, and this thing is going to manifest much faster than anyone thought that it would. And this is where the old souls right now come into play, because you know, it's really important that you study yourself. It's really important that you examine everything coming and going from your field, because a lot of the things that have been embedded in you that you don't want to pass on are subconscious programs or subconscious behaviors, tabs that you have open in the background that need to be closed. So be mindful of how you're feeling. Take action, consciously address when you feel like there's an imbalance in your system, and make sure that you are sending your child into a world with an understanding of what their potential is and why they should not submit to limitation. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, you guys. Yeah, I've shipped out a lot of soul portals, and I'm collecting a lot of, you know, testimonials and personal experiences that have been pretty wild. You know, that was a big unknown for me, is how people would respond and feel when receiving the project. And man, do I love getting emails about what happened when the box was open and, you know, the portal was revealed. So thank you very much, you guys. I will see you very soon. Goodbye.